Well, today it's brilliant to have Cameron Peacock, with us. For those of us in church, we see Cameron for the last 6 months at least. We've seen him um, just sitting in the corner in a dark cellar, playing the drums, but playing them really well actually. And we've been really appreciative of the fact that week by week he's been willing to be part of that little worship group as for us in church. Cameron, it's fantastic to have you with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us just who you are. Introduce yourself to us.
Cool, thanks for having me. I'm Cameron, I'm 19, I'm the eldest of four. My mum and dad are Ian and Morag, employed by the church, working for the church. I'm currently working part-time for Foundation 92, which is like the charity attached to Salford City FC, as a sort of community coach, so putting on community sessions for kids, doing sort of outreach-based work in the community, local community. And I'm also, alongside that, on a traineeship of employability and coaching. Sort of not too sure what I want to go into in the future, but this opportunity came up and I really enjoy football and I've got a passion for it. So I'm sort of like testing it out whilst I'm unsure of what to do. Yeah, I've finished college in 2019. So I've had an academic year out of college and a little bit more, just sort of trying to see what I want to do with the future work-wise. And yeah.
What were you did A levels, didn't you, at Pendleton? What did you?
Yeah. So I did A-level geography, A-level graphic design, and then B.Tech sport. A-level geography was like exam-based. Graphic design was coursework and exam-based. And then B.Tech sport was just all coursework. To be fair, I really enjoyed it, particularly graphic design and sport. And the reason, when everyone was going off to university, I was like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. How does everyone know what they want to do? My friends were saying like, oh, I'm going to do maths, and if I can't get in there, then I'm going to go here. And I was like, wow, I've not even thought about that. So I was just a bit like, whoa, how do you know that already? So I had the two sort of routes that I could have gone down, graphic design or sport. And I'm also, outside of that, interested in music. So that's a big hobby. And so I didn't really know which way I wanted to go. So I was just speaking to family and friends and my dad, and he was saying, well, if you don't know, then don't go for now, and just try and work out what you want to do and where you want to go. So
was it a pressure? Was that I mean, when you tell it like that, I think everybody listening will go, yeah, we know how that feels. But was it a real pressure for you?
Yeah, honestly, it was. I felt pressure massively because we'd sort of only been back 2 weeks in our second year, and we were in so like the tutor group, so like form time, and it was like, right, we're going on UCAS and we're having a look on this, and I was like, what? And everyone was like, oh yeah, we're going on UCAS, mate. We're just, we're signing up for this, and we're having a look at what courses we want to do. And I was like, wow, how have they already thought about this? We've only just come back into second year. I was thinking, I thought I had a lot more time than that. I wanted to focus on the actual A levels before anything else, but everyone else just seemed to have some sort of plan. And I was thinking, oh, so I did feel massive pressure from everyone else. They weren't putting pressure on me, but I just felt the pressure. And from the teacher as well, he was like, you should be up to here on your UCAS form and you should be doing this. And I was like, I don't even know what I want to do. So how am I going to be up to that stage, at this point? So yeah, I feel like it was quite a big pressure on me.
I think some folks, they might have a clear idea. I think lots of people don't actually. And here's the truth: people in my generation and your mum and dad's generation, we're going to live a long time, so you will need to work forever to keep paying your taxes, so that our retirement is in the style to which we've become accustomed. When the work you've been doing with Foundation 92, it's kind of like it's a mix, isn't it, between being a trainee, but also there's a community aspect to that work, isn't there? And you were telling me about the food parcel. Tell me the story about the food parcels.
Yeah. So it sort of started early summer. So it was during lockdown, it sort of all came about. And they'd got a load of new coaches. Well, me and you aren't really coaches because we don't have any qualifications or anything. But yeah, it sort of started with we're going to put on sessions for young people in different locations, and then they realised with the restrictions that restricted it massively. So and also we didn't have permission to put on sessions in every park. So it was like, right, it's going to be outreach instead. So you sort of go in and talking to people and stuff. And then we also, alongside that, we had like some sort of partnership with Emmaus on Salford precinct. So delivering food parcels on behalf of them. I think they were already doing it, but we were sort of like helping out. So they were basically providing the food parcels. We'd do it every day of the week, but I'd do it like 3 times a week, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And we'd just go and collect the food parcels. And then we'd go to an estate near Salford precinct called Clarion Estate. And we'd just knock on the doors and just say, we've got food parcels on behalf of Emmaus and Foundation 92, for free, just take it. And at the start, it was funny because it was just like people were just so freaked out. Like we've got so many like people just looked concerned and they were like, where's the catch? Where's the catch? How much do I owe you? And like people were even coming and saying, what do I give you in return? I'll give you some tins if you give me this. And it's like, no, this is for you. And then after a couple of weeks, they sort of opened up, and then people were like, oh, hiya, yeah, thanks a lot. And they were really grateful. And we would just go into the same houses every week. And you could tell some people, like young families with a lot of kids and stuff. So they were really appreciative of it. And we just loved speaking to them as well. And there was just 2 women that lived next door to each other. And I always went to their house. So I just always got a chance to speak to them. And they were like, oh, this is really great. We've never had any sort of help like this. So they were really grateful for that. And that was probably the bit that I enjoyed the most, more than the actual football side of it, to be honest.
That's interesting. And it might indicate areas that you might explore looking going forward.
Yeah.
Clearly, you've been, you've been brought up within a Christian family and church. I mean, I remember when you came to our church about 10 years ago or so, and you being sitting on the front row and being, very engaged and all the brilliant things that you were as a family. But how when or how has faith become your own and not just this is what we do as a family?
So I feel like as I was getting to like the ages of like 13, 14, 15, I still absolutely believed it, but I'd never really claimed it as my own, like you said. And I feel like at some points, well, when we were at Elim earlier on, when it was me and Ewan around the same age in Sunday school, and our mum was doing the Sunday school group, and
Brilliant.
and we were arguing about irrelevant things, and our mum was telling us off, obviously, and I feel like that sort of wasn't like the most helpful time, because it was just too easy to switch off, because it was like, oh, it's my mum just telling me to do this sort of thing. But then, as in 2015, when we first went on the first Cricket camp, Andrew and Alex and Erin and other leaders from around the country sort of led. That was sort of like the point where it started. I was like, right, I'm sort of taking this for my own now, because it was away from home and it was away from mum and dad, which, there's absolutely no problem that they were part of the church and stuff, and I loved it. No, but, it was just different because there was loads of other kids my age that I didn't know outside of our church. And it was like, oh, wow, so you sort of think the same things as me. And, and it was just a bit easier to speak to some of the leaders about, different things, about different topics. You could probably be a little bit more open. And then I think it was 2018, like a bit before, my dad was saying, oh, some people are getting baptized, like, why don't you have you ever thought about it? And I'd always thought about it, but then at that point, I'd just not long come back from camp 2018, and I just thought, yeah, I really want to, just to make the statement to friends and family and everyone else that, you know, I'm a Christian, and this is my faith now. It's not just my family's faith. So that was when I got baptized. Yeah.
I kind of just want to say thank you, really, because to you and to Ewan, because I think, you know, when you explain, you know, like you were the oldest boys, and you know, when you came, there weren't that many children actually in the church, and you were the eldest, and I think, you know, I certainly get exactly how it must have felt. So, here's my mum, who you love dearly, but here's my mum, here's my brother, and it feels like just a little bit awkward. But, you know, what you were doing is essentially you were beginning a tradition for other children. So it's easier now for younger boys to come through, because you guys, you know, and Erin as well, were kind of like pushing the way. You were just a little older, and that, I know that there were times when that must have been a little difficult. But I suppose on behalf of the church, I just want to say thank you for hanging in there, really. And you know, we're delighted to see how things have developed for you, and the gifts you use those in this life of being a disciple of Jesus. How do you stay spiritually connected to God?
So I was saying the main one that I'd had for like a couple of years, with me playing the drums was that. I love singing, and I love just reading the words, to be honest. And when I'm playing, I don't usually get to do that as much, but I do feel like more spiritually connected when I'm playing in a band. And also, like when we were in church, I think whilst I was playing and I could see everyone else's faces singing it, and like that was probably a big thing for me. It was like, wow, you know, you could see people being moved by that, and that sort of like uplifts me. But then also more recently, as I've been following these Bible guides that are just taking me through sections of different books every day, I feel like that's been a big factor, to be honest, because it's just guides that are just taking me through different things, saying this is what's happening here, this is the main topic here, or the main theme, and then they ask questions, so you've got to sort of think for yourself, and then also it gives you something to pray about, and it says, you know, like, how can you apply this to your life, or have you got any of this in your life, sort of thing. And then so I feel like the Bible readings have been probably the biggest thing at the moment. Just every day, just opening, you know, it's not long, it's only like 5 or 10 minutes of reading, but yeah, I think that's probably been the biggest thing at the moment.
And in a sense, you explain both really well, because it's like the personal discipline, really, the spiritual discipline of just reading and trying to make sense of it, and then belonging to the bigger body, which in normal days enables us to stay connected to one another and also to God. I think it's true for us all. I think that's actually what we're called to do. I mean, these are frustrating days for all of us, but what's most challenging for you at the moment? Where's the biggest challenge you face?
It's probably to do with work at the moment. So I've not been there that long because the organisation hasn't been doing sessions and outreach for that long, so it's all fairly new. So, you know, I'm surrounded by people that I don't really know that well, and they're all really, really great people, and then really nice people, but I suppose it's always a bit of a challenge when you don't know them and they don't know everything about you, they don't know your beliefs and stuff, and so like something that they might think is all right, like I might not agree with, you know, so sometimes it's sort of like, but because you don't know them, you don't want to just outright say something like, oh, I don't agree with that, sort of thing. But not that you go along with it, but you're like, oh, I'm not sure about that. So I feel like being surrounded by people that don't know your beliefs and your faith, and you don't know where they stand, is probably the most challenging thing for me at the moment.
You
definitely.
told me about your was it the trainer and or your coach or somebody who was the story about him saying about the problem he has with religion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We were just on a coaching session with some lads, and they were like 14, 15 years old. I'm not sure whereabouts they were from, but I think they must have had some sort of faith themselves. I'm not sure what the faith was, but they said, "What do you think of God?" to the coach, and he just said straight away, he just shot them down, and he said, "Oh no, I don't like God. I hate religion. It causes more trouble than it's worth," sort of thing. And then he was sort of laughing about it, and then he looked at me and he was like nodding, like sort of wanting my approval on it. And I was like, I'm not too sure on that one, mate. I didn't say anything to him, but it was just like, oh, that's interesting. How he just shot it down straight away, and he'd sort of looked at me for like, like, do you agree, sort of thing. And I was like, no. So like, I feel like that's probably challenging, because the thing is, like, he and everyone else are just really nice people as well.
Yeah.
So you don't want to upset them.
No.
So, but yeah.
But knowing when to stand up and knowing what to say, the wisdom to know how to respond.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I want to say, while you were giving that brilliant answer, your dad came in the room.
Yeah, I could see him in the
get on
corner.
screen, and he's desperate to get on screen. Oh yeah.
I know.
So if we were, if we were to pray for you, what would be the best thing we could pray for you these days?
I'd say a big one would be patience with the traineeship that I'm on at the moment, because I feel like it's not really catered for my sort of needs and stuff, and I feel like it's not going to be the most helpful thing, but it's taking up a lot of time. So patience with that. And also, I don't know if coaching and football is something that I want to be in. It's sort of just experimental for me, so probably just patience with that as well, and just that I can put my trust fully in God, and that He's in control, and that the right thing will come up at the right time, and that He's going to look after me no matter what I'm doing. So probably just that I remember that, to trust in God and just to be patient as well.
Brilliant. Cameron, we will, and I'm sure the Lord will lead you. He is trustworthy, and for those of us who place our lives in His hand, He does hold us really well. Thanks for your time. It's been brilliant to talk to you, and
it's been really good.
I'm sure loads of folks will really enjoy just getting to know you a little bit more. So thanks for today, and blessings on all that's ahead. Thanks ever so much.
Thanks, Neil.